Anthropic just got declared a supply chain risk by the Department of Defense. And somehow, within the same week, Trump administration officials are quietly encouraging major U.S. banks to start testing Anthropic's new Mythos model. Let that contradiction sink in. The same government apparatus that flagged Anthropic as a national security concern is now reportedly pushing the most powerful financial institutions in the world to plug that exact company's AI directly into their systems. This is not a rumor. This is not a leak from a disgruntled employee. Multiple sources are pointing to active encouragement from within the administration. So what is actually going on here? The most likely explanation is that different factions inside the U.S. government are operating with completely different agendas. Defense sees a risk. Treasury sees an opportunity. And Anthropic, caught in the middle, just became the most politically complicated AI company on the planet. What makes this even more alarming is the timing. Anthropic's Claude has been dominating industry conversation. It was literally the most talked about model at the HumanX conference in San Francisco this past week. Every enterprise buyer, every developer, every executive in that room was asking about Claude. And now it is being quietly threaded into the banking sector, while one arm of the U.S. government waves a red flag. The financial sector running on an AI that the Pentagon has concerns about. If that does not make you stop and think about how fast this is all moving, nothing will. Most people completely miss this, but buried inside the chatter from the HumanX conference, this week was something that should be getting a lot more attention. It is not just that everyone was talking about Claude, it is what they were specifically saying about it. Enterprise buyers at the conference were not comparing Claude to GPT-4 or Gemini in the usual benchmark sense. They were talking about it as the default choice for agentic workflows, not a tool you query. A system you deploy autonomously inside your business operations. That is a fundamentally different conversation than the one happening in public. While the media focuses on chatbot comparisons and image generation party tricks, the real enterprise procurement decisions being made right now are quietly cementing Anthropic's Claude as the backbone of the next generation of AI-powered businesses. Think about what that means at scale. If Claude becomes the default agentic layer inside banking, healthcare, logistics, and legal, the model that reads your documents, drafts your contracts, flags your compliance risks, and executes your workflows, Anthropic does not just win the AI race. It becomes critical infrastructure. And here is the part that almost nobody is reporting. Anthropic has been extraordinarily disciplined about not releasing certain model capabilities to the public. There are internal reports of model behaviors during testing that were quietly shelved, outputs and capability demonstrations that the team decided were too unpredictable to ship. This is not unique to Anthropic. MIT Technology Review surfaced reporting this week on AI models considered too dangerous or too unstable to release. But the fact that the most enterprise-trusted AI company is simultaneously sitting on capabilities it will not publish, while being pushed into the banking sector by government officials, while being flagged as a security risk by the Pentagon, that combination of facts is a story that is hiding in plain sight. Save this segment. You will want to come back to it. Now let's talk about Sam Altman, because the drama around OpenAI's CEO has reached a level that would be unbelievable if it were a Netflix script. This week, Altman published a direct response blog post addressing two separate crises at the same time. First, an attack on his home. That is not a metaphor. There was an actual reported incident at his physical residence. Second, a deeply unflattering profile published in The New Yorker that raises serious questions about Altman's trustworthiness, his management style, and the internal culture at OpenAI. Altman called the article incendiary. His blog post pushed back on the characterizations, but the damage from a major editorial institution like The New Yorker raising credibility questions about the most powerful AI CEO in the world is not something you walk back with a blog post. The timing is brutal. OpenAI is in the middle of its most consequential period, restructuring its corporate governance, pushing toward a full for-profit conversion, and trying to close what would be one of the largest funding rounds in tech history. Investor confidence is not something you can afford to destabilize right now. And behind the scenes, the competitive pressure is immense. Anthropic is eating OpenAI's enterprise lunch, according to every signal coming out of this week's conference circuit. Google DeepMind is shipping Gemini updates at a pace that would have seemed impossible 18 months ago. Meta is flooding the open-source ecosystem with llama derivatives. And NVIDIA, quietly, methodically, keeps printing money on every single chip that powers all of it, regardless of who wins the model wars. The question hanging over the industry right now is whether OpenAI can maintain its public credibility as the face of responsible AI while its CEO is simultaneously defending his character in public, and its corporate structure is being reshaped under regulatory and investor pressure. The cracks are visible. Whether they widen is the story of the next 90 days. This week's tool is Claude AI, specifically the project's feature inside Claude's interface, which lets you create persistent, context-aware AI workspaces that remember your documents, your instructions, and your preferences across every single conversation. Here is the concrete use case. You are a freelance consultant. You upload your client's brand guidelines, their past reports, their tone of voice document, and a list of their competitors. You set a custom system prompt telling Claude exactly how to behave for this client. From that point forward, every conversation you have inside that project is already fully briefed. No re-explaining context. No copy-pasting background information. You open the project, you ask your question, and Claude responds as if it has been your dedicated analyst for months. The difference in output quality between a cold Claude query and a fully loaded Claude project is not marginal, it is transformational. And the free tier gives you enough access to feel the difference before you commit to a paid plan. Go to Claude AI, hit the Projects tab, and spend 20 minutes setting one up for your most repetitive work context. You will not go back to the old way. If you thought this was wild, you need to see what OpenAI dropped last week. The video is on your screen right now.